Good morning, members, and to anybody watching, members and the public alike. Can I welcome everyone present to the meeting of the Overview and Scrutiny Commission today on the 18th of December 2025. It's 10 o'clock, so we will get started with today's meeting and move straight away. Thank you to item 1, which are the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of October 2025. Are members happy to agree the minutes of the meeting of the 23rd of October? Thank you. I can sign the minutes. Thank you very much. Item number 2 on the agenda, apologies and substitutes. To receive apologies, substitutes and note members in attendance. Have we had any apologies, Ruth, please?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, we've received apologies from Councillor Will Richmond.
Thank you. Any other apologies anyone's aware of on behalf of members of the Commission? No, thank you very much. And I note we also have a non-member of the Commission, Councillor Westman, who's in attendance. You'll be welcome to speak as well after other members have had their turn. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. I don't have any chairman's announcements to make other than those I've made already. I haven't had any urgent business proposed to me. That's under item 4. Item 5, declaration of interests. Can I ask if members have any interests to declare at this point, or any of the other items on the agenda that they declare at that particular point? No declarations made, thank you very much. Noted the name of Councillor Westman, who is attending and most welcome, and all the other members are members of the Commission present. Thank you very much. Our first executive member portfolio presented today is Councillor Alison Webb, who is going to give us an update and presentation of the large portfolio of customer and corporate services. And I think Alison is intending to have a break at some point so that some questions can be asked. I'll leave that to Alison to talk us through so that people don't have to wait until the end of the presentation to ask questions on some particular aspects. That may help in terms of focusing the mind. So over to you, Councillor Alison Webb. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harry, Chairman. Okay, Chair and members, thank you so much for inviting me along today with my portfolio of services, which is the customer and corporate services. It brings together all the internal enabling services that keeps our council running effectively. Slide 2, please. Have you got slides up, please? No. That's all right. That's it. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. Across risk and performance, corporate planning, customer services, HR, organisational development, IT and digital, democratic services, elections and communications, our focus has been on resilience, efficiency and preparing for the organisation for the changes ahead, especially with local government review and the growing role of AI and digital solutions. So this presentation is not going to last very long. It's not going to be more than 3 hours. No, I'm only kidding. 10 minutes, only 10 minutes. So basically, I'm going to take you through each service area, highlighting key activity this year, the challenges we've navigated, and our forward priorities to make sure we stay resident-focused, efficient, and strategically aligned to our corporate plan. Next slide, please. Risk, performance and corporate planning. Right, okay. This year, we've continued to strengthen our performance culture, updating our frameworks so they are practical and relevant, and growing our analytics capability so services can make better evidence-based decisions. We've kept the corporate plan at the centre of this, ensuring everything that we measure links back to priorities for our communities. We are also using more predictive data, which is helping us to plan ahead, allocate resources more efficiently, and anticipate service demands within this district, such as using forecasting to better understand the rates of fly tipping reports within the district. We're also looking to develop predictive data to work into other areas, such as housing, in the upcoming year. As we move into next year, we will be reviewing our performance metrics in line with service redesigns and emergency priorities. We will also make sure that our performance and risk systems continue to support local government review requirements while still reflecting Breckland's unique needs, maintaining accountability, transparency, and also strong governance. Next slide, please. Customer services. This year, customer services have focused on modernising how residents contact us. Really important. Rolling out the Puzzle omni-channel platform. This includes new features which have proved very popular, like the callbacks, SMS messaging, and preparing our chatbot to move into the same system, all supported by a shared knowledge base so customers can receive consistent, accurate response and advice no matter who they speak to. We did experience staffing pressures over this summer, which affected wait times and satisfaction. To stabilise this performance, we have redeployed staff, focused face-to-face appointments, and stepped in to support the front line. We now have new recruits in training, and early signs are very encouraging, with both wait times and abandonment rates improving. We're basically coming back to where we should be, and that's what we needed. Looking ahead, we'll be adding WhatsApp as a new contact option, integrating Puzzle with services such as ARP, which is Anglia Revenues and Partnerships, and Elections, and exploring further AI-enabled features to improve efficiency and customer experience. We are also working on closer links with other services, such as sharing knowledge so we can resolve more issues first time and offer better support to residents and communities. Now I'm going to stop now and ask for any questions, please.
Sorry, Chairman, I do then, if it's in relation to customer services. I can read this as it's a public comment on Facebook. I'm sure you know who it's from. But following the public meeting, he says, you have no idea how hard it is to raise the safeguarding concern that was discussed at the public meeting we recently had over the NR19. I've called Breckland Council this morning. After 40 minutes on hold, I gave up, used the online agent, and after 20 minutes waiting there, spoke to someone clearly following a script. No luck, so passed to Norfolk Adult Services, 30 minutes there to be told it's a police matter. It's no wonder people give up on stuff. Wasted a morning for something that Breckland should have addressed directly after the meeting. So my question to you, Councillor Webb, is do you think that's acceptable? And also you mentioned in your comments there about modernising the system. Is that going to mean there's going to be less human contact? Because clearly I think that's what that means. And clearly that's what our residents are facing, is they're not able to actually speak to someone when there's a need to do so. So that's what I want to put forward. All right.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, I'll start with the Facebook side of things. Facebook is a difficult area. We do not look at every comment that's put on Facebook because comments on Facebook are not always accurate. However, if this is the case this morning, I am disappointed that that individual received that service, and what I need is that individual to contact me and give me the details of his telephone number, the time he made the call and what he did when, because quite often I've had incidents where people put something on Facebook where actually when we looked at it are not quite where we should be. If there is a fault in the system, I need to know, this is the point, so I can make things better. And if I don't get told through my proper channels, I can't make things better. So I would really basically encourage anybody, and this is opening the gates to everybody out there, if they get a problem with getting through to Breckland Council and getting the service they want, we want that feedback so we can make sure they do get that service in the future. It's really important because without those details, I can't see what's going on. I can't see what's needed. Now, my last point before you start is you've asked about whether you can talk to someone at Breckland Council. Yes, you can. You can always get through to someone at Breckland Council when you need to, when there is no channel selection for you to get to the quicker need, which is available 24 hours a day. So if you want to talk to somebody, you can. So have you got anything else you want to say on that, please, Sarah? Yes, I'll just pass over at that point. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would agree with Councillor Webb in terms of it really is helpful for us if our customers come to us and give us that feedback directly so we can act on it. One of the things that we do routinely when we have calls from our customers is we invite them to leave feedback. We look and listen and reflect on all of the feedback that we get from our customers to make sure that they're getting the best experience that they can. So I would encourage them to leave feedback at the end of the call if they are frustrated or if they feel that they've been waiting too long or have not got the information that they need. They can give us that feedback and we absolutely do act upon that. The other function that we have rolled out, which Councillor Webb mentioned in her presentation, is a callback function that we have on our new platform, and that has proved really popular with customers. What that means is if we are experiencing long wait times, they can keep their place in the queue, but we will call them back. And we've had really positive feedback from people. So that enables them to go off, do other things, get on with their life, whether it's work or, doing stuff around the house, whatever. And they can be assured that they won't lose their place in the queue and that we will ring them back as soon as we have an available agent.
Thank you, Sarah.
Just to follow up, and I appreciate all that, and clearly you recognise that there's an issue, and if people aren't reporting it, I get it, then you don't know about it. But I suppose just to follow up then, if I may, Chairman, you didn't quite answer my question. By modernising and by now moving to AI, are we going to see a reduction in whether it be staff actually manning a phone? Do you see what I mean? Are we going to lose that human touch going forwards?
Thank you. I just want to assure you that, as I said before, there's always going to be a person who you're going to be able to speak to. It might take some time for them to bring you back, but there will be someone. Is there going to be a reduction? I've got no planned reductions. In fact, I've just filled vacant posts because people have left and we've needed to replace them to make sure the service levels are up and running. AI is a funny thing because some people love it and some people don't. It's as simple as that. AI allows us, our customers, to actually access services they need 24 hours a day rather than just when the council's open. So there are certain things like, I don't know, ordering bins, paying your bills, things like that, which you can do quite easily at 12 o'clock at night if you wish to, which really fits into the style. But however, I will always say the human contact is really important for a lot of our residents, and that's really important to me to make sure that we have enough people in our call centre to ask and look after our residents properly. Thank you very much.
Yeah, can I just say, I don't think Alison necessarily reached a natural point in her presentation, but as we are discussing this particular issue around modernisation and feedback and so forth, it's important we don't lose that particular thread of discussion before we move on, to the next slides. And I see we've got Councillor Land ask question next, and then followed by Councillor Turner. Councillor Land.
Thank you, Chair. Alison, you just said some people love AI and some people don't. I fall very much into the latter category. And in that light, would it be possible, so every Tuesday morning when I'm looking, or every Monday morning when I'm looking at which bin to put out, I go on your website and it starts shouting at me. Could we have something that has an option so those who like AI can use it and those who don't can be without it? I'd also ask, while we're at it, what sort of feedback do you get about AI? What is the generalised customer experience with it? Just for interest, really. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question? When you said about your bin collection, what starts showing? What are you referring to?
On a Monday, when I put the bins out, I go on the website, I type in Breckland bins on my search engine, and it comes up, because I forget every week which one's got to go out. And so I put the appropriate bin out, and it starts shouting at me. I don't like it much. Sorry.
We took the decision to actually put a written calendar on the back of our magazine, and we got mixed feedback yet again. So, as I said, at the end of the day, we did it, didn't we, Rihanna? We did it to see what the feedback was. So if you liked it, just send me an email saying you really liked it, and maybe we'll look at doing it again. That side of things. What was the other question? Sorry.
What sort of feedback do you get?
On AI?
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to hand over on that one.
Thank you. We've got a couple of colleagues, some team leaders from the customer service centre, so I think you'll get a more accurate and fulsome picture of the feedback if I can defer to one of them, if that's okay with you.
Is that on? Can everyone hear me? Yep. So yeah, we do get a mixture. I think it's really important to note that a lot of people who have a positive experience are less like, they don't have the opportunity because they don't reach an agent, so they don't get the survey calls. So there is the voice of the people that we don't hear. I think is really important to note, and I think a lot of also a lot of benefits that we do see from it is that the more people who are using AI means that we're freeing up time for those people who do actually want to speak to someone as well. So it's not a huge chunk of our feedback that is negative, but the feedback that we do receive about Bobby are usually ways that we can improve it. And it's, as has been mentioned before, we look at every dissatisfied comment and we look at ways to improve that. There's some things that are naturally out of our control. People just don't like it, and we have to accept that. But there are some things that we look to improve. And very recently, we've put in some improvements that make it more accessible for people who want to speak to someone. All they have to say is that I want to get through to someone, and we make it an easier, direct way for them to get through.
Thank you. Could you give me some examples of the sort of positive and negative feedback you get, so we get an idea of how it's viewed? Thank you.
I will be able to, but I don't have the examples on me. Are you okay for me to share them afterwards?
Or you can extemporize, I don't mind.
Some of them will be to do with getting through to the right queue, which is, again, something we've worked on recently to get them through to the right person. Some of it, it's the positive side of things, is when people are receiving a text message. So I'll give you an example of when this might happen. If someone is in a queue waiting to get through to someone where ultimately they have to get through to Norfolk County Council, so if it's a highways query, what could typically happen is that they have to wait to come through to us. We then pass them through to Norfolk County Council, whereas using AI, we can identify which route they want to go down and send them a direct link or transfer them directly through to Norfolk County Council. So they don't have to wait twice. They don't even have to wait once. They just go through the option. I think it's even 2 or 3 different selections they press, and they're straight through to Norfolk County Council, whereas before they'd have to wait a little bit longer. So I think, again, it's one of those things where we don't receive the positive feedback about that, because ultimately the call ends with Norfolk County Council. But I will be able to find a few examples for you to share to give you a bit more context in that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to pick up on the balance between the use of digital technology and the human side, and there has to be a balance. But I think a lot of the good feedback comes back through us elected members themselves. So, and in particular, I just want to praise the people on the reception desk in the main building. I had one of my local residents in a dreadful state who came in. They looked after her, they managed to get an officer down to deal with it, and she rang me up to say thank you. So let's not forget the good side that happens as well. No system is perfect, and I think as we move forward in the digital age, we're all coming up against hitches and things. I mean, I couldn't even log into Barclays Bank this morning to do a charity transfer sum. It was shut down for some reason. So we have to sort of live with it. But I just wanted the team to know that there are positive things coming back. Thank you.
Any more questions? Right.
Can I just say, are there any
Harry.
more questions of members at this particular point in the process before we move to the next slide? Councillor Wilkinson.
If you'll indulge me, Chairman, I haven't got a question, but I can confirm what Councillor Linda said. Even sometimes myself, I just use the public forum to report things, and I must admit the bit where it's not Breckland, it's highways or county council, and you get a link straight away to that. And I've had elderly residents. They felt more confident that there's going to be listened to, and it took the stress out of that, waiting for that callback. Bobby, I believe as well, they get frustrated with it when it first came out because it doesn't answer direct questions, which people think that does. It just directs them, which is fair enough, you know, so there's a bit of a Well, I'll just finish and say that, you know, there's more positives than negatives, and it's the same as everything else. When I'm a governor at QEH, we get all the negatives from the public and not the positives. They don't seem to count the positive reactions they get. And as for Facebook, you can't believe what people say on Facebook all the time. The police come to me with Snap saying, why are those people saying that in Narborough? Well, you know, come to the police. Go to the police if you're that concerned, and I tell them that as well. If your life's in danger, 999. If you're not, 101, or go online. And they must deliver intelligence with it as well.
Yeah, I think you've raised really an important thing there. Yes, members do feedback quite a bit. What I'm trying to get over at this meeting is that it's up to the public, our customers, to feedback, and it's really important. Like we spoke before, Councillor Hunter-Clark has raised the issue that there's issues, but we don't get to hear about them. So we need that feedback to actually improve things. So that's what I ask for. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on to the next item, I think obviously it's very important that we have feedback from members directly. As I know, when we had the new website and everything fit up in the trial, and capturing people's actual experience. Before you move to the next one, I've just got one quick question myself, not my personal experience, but I know I've raised the question at full council about digital exclusion, and it's the people that we aren't reaching is important. I won't bring in the question of modernising these speakers at some point, which we're having trouble with. That'll be a future meeting. Under current key activity, Alison, we've got a mention there about callbacks and SMS, and I wondered, I've sometimes done that, not with Breckland Council, when I put in something, if you'd like a callback, etc., and I haven't actually had the callback. So if you're able to explain, or one of the officers, how that's monitored and picked up, because obviously that's a very useful feature for people rather than hanging on the phone all the time. Thank you.
Can I pass it over to Ollie? He's the gentleman.
Just to echo, Alison, I think with those instances, I haven't personally heard of any where someone hasn't received a callback. So if anything, if you do receive anything, we'd love to hear about them, and then we can investigate. But I've certainly not been made aware that any callbacks you won't get a callback later on. The only thing I can think of is there might be a delay when we're really busy. But please do let us know if it is the instance, and we work on with a mentality of continuous improvement. We love to hear about what's not hitting the mark so we can make it better for the next resident.
If you'd like to carry on, Alison, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Right, okay, next slide, please. Sorry, Ruth. Next one, that's it. So the next one is HR, Human Resources. Yep, got it, wonderful, thank you. So this year, we've successfully 2P transferred planning and building control staff into Breckland Council, strengthening our internal capability and delivering targeted support in environmental protection to provide resilience. HR has also generated external income by providing services to partner organisation, helping offset our costs and adding value to the council. We're continuing to improve our employment offer through flexible benefits and the electric car scheme, which supports staff wellbeing and also delivers tax and national insurance savings for the organisations. Our turnover rate remains below the public sector average, with 55 new starters this year. We're attracting and retaining talent, which is very vital for service stability and customer experience. Looking ahead to next year, we're exploring how AI can support HR processes, review reward and recognition to ensure that we stay competitive and expand opportunities for external income, building on the strong foundations we have already put on place. Next slide, please. I'm going to talk a bit about organisational development now. This is a key role in preparing the council for local government review. Strengthening our workforce planning and creating a network of change agents across our services to champion change and support our colleagues. We're also expanding our digital learning offer and expanding and improved career pathways, helping us retain talent, support process progression and build skills within the organisation. Looking ahead, we're going to be undertaking a council-wide skills analysis to understand where our strengths are and where we need to grow. We will also expand on on-demand learning to staff, and so staff and members can also access training when they need it. Together, these actions build a more adaptable, confident and future-ready workforce and member base. Thank you. Next slide, please. Right, we're now on to ICT and digital. This year, we have modernised our core ICT infrastructure, upgrading phones, desktops, cloud services and cyber protections, very important. What this means for the organisation is more reliable systems, safer data and better tools for our staff and for our customers and our members, smoother access to services and fewer interruptions. Like the rest of the sector, we're facing rising cyber threats. Increasing technology costs and uncertainty linked to local government reorganisation, and that's why it's so important that we all and everyone, members and staff alike, keep their cyber training up to date. It directly contributes to keeping our services safe going forward. I think we all are very aware about cyber training and how much cyber attacks can cost companies. And I can honestly say it's one of the big things that I worry about at night. Make sure that we're safe on that side of things. Looking ahead, we're developing an AI policy and roadmap to help us work smarter. We're completing essential compliance work like secure online payments and cyber assessments, and we'll continue strengthening our infrastructure so it supports our council's evolving digital needs. On the digital side, we've made services easier to use. We've delivered new online forms, improved payments, trialled digital reminders, and maintained one of the highest accessibility scores in the country at 98%, which is brilliant. This means residents can complete tasks more quickly and independently. Capacity is still a challenge, but next year we will support major transformation programmes, expand system integrations, explore AI further, not forgetting human beings, of course, invest in skills for our junior developer, and trial new tools like SMS and bookings. All this is focused in making our services faster, easier and more efficient for our customers. I'm going to stop now because I've done a couple and I'd like any questions, please.
Thank you. Questions from members? Robin Hunting-Clark.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Under HR, just be interested to understand Breckland's current policy on working from home, and your in your personal view or a view as a cabinet. You know, my personal view, for what it's worth, is I think we need to start reducing working from home. I just feel that staff are far more productive working in office. I actually think it's better for mental health too. Of course, there are exceptions, and I get it. There are jobs where that's not possible, or it's better, you know, if they're working out in the field or whatever. But that's something that I think we ought to be working to. You know, it became a habit, I think, because of obviously what happened during the COVID years, which are now behind us. But I'd just be interested to get, one, what the policy is for our staff, and two, what's the future in your eyes for that?
I'm going to hand over in a minute, don't worry. You've asked, okay, my thing is looking at outputs as ever. If I could see there was a degrading of outputs that was apparent, I would be more concerned about working at home. With the customer service side of things, we now know that people that work at home work as well as being at work, because they are monitored. They are monitored like on a flexible system where you can tell how many calls are made, how long they are, the cost, customer service and customer feedback from it. As I said, that side of things. Oh, right, okay, sorry, in a minute, can I just finish? Thank you. Yeah, you asked my personal view on it, my side of things. As I said, I worry about outputs and make sure. I also believe, on the good side, that this allows more flexibility for staff who have got caring responsibilities can actually work for the council. And this is a good thing as far as I'm concerned, because it allows children, so they can basically work. If they've got children, they can go and pick their children up, take the children to school and make the time up at other time. There is not a problem with that side of things, as long as the output's there and as long as the hours are there and as long as everything is measured and the residents are getting the best out of our staff. Rob, did you want to talk? Sorry.
It just more in answer to the sort of policy questions. I don't believe we share the same opinion of working from home and working in the office, but it's good to have differences of opinion. So the expectation in terms of the policy is that staff will come in on average two days a week out of the sort of 5 normal working days. As you say, that doesn't apply to all roles, because some roles are externally focused and focused outside of the office rather than at home versus the office. I think it's something we constantly review. I don't think we need a static position. So the HR team are currently looking at it to see what's working and what isn't working. We reserve the right in all cases to instruct people to come into the office. If we felt there were issues and performance concerns, we can instruct staff to work from the office, and we have done that where appropriate. I think we find there's a balance. So there is a value to being in the office. There is a value to collaboration and a collegiate way of working, and for team meetings and for sharing information and actually being available in person to meet with members and to meet with others. So there is absolutely a value to being in the office. There is also a value from working from home, and we think, depending on the tasks that people are working on, that can be a more productive space for people to work. But for us, I don't think we see it as a black and white. We think there is a benefit from home working as well as a benefit from the office, and the right approach is to have a sort of mixed economy of both. But we constantly review. We're actually, the HR team are reviewing it at the moment, and we discussed it as a senior management team to review what we felt was working well and not working perhaps so well. But the positives for us are that we've got an office environment and we've got a culture that drives a flexible approach to working, and we're finding one of the main advantages of that is it makes us attractive as an employer. We're attracting a younger, more diverse recruits when we employ, when compared to some of our neighbouring Norfolk authorities who perhaps don't have the flexibility that we offer. So there are real positives to a balanced approach to home and office working. There is value in both. There is value to being in the office, I absolutely agree with you, but there is also a value to being able to work from home and having that flexibility as well. It is under review, and we will share the reviews and share an update policy with members when that's completed.
Sorry, just a quick follow-up, Chairman. Could we ensure that does come to Overview and Scrutiny Commission so that we can at least have sight of it and comment on it?
Well, I'm sure, as with any
Yeah.
policy, where there's substantial change or we want to review things regularly, but I'm sure that can be incorporated in any programme like any other issue. I've got thank you, Councillor Clark. We've got Councillor David Wickerson next. Thank you.
That means that I'm not allowed to talk, probably. Let's try again.
No, don't.
I'm happy to ask more questions.
Hang on, it's green now. It's green now.
Transfer, undertaken, protection and employment. So when 2P, it's 2P, transfer of undertaking, protection and employment. It means when you bring staff in from an organisation into another organisation, they have certain rights to be protected. It's looking after what they did in the original company, if that makes sense. Does it? Is it okay? Okay. I probably read through it and I understand it, so I probably didn't pick it up. Apologise.
We move on to Councillor Turner. Just another plea from me. Obviously, I'm sure that officers will have heard the question about acronyms. Obviously, some of us attend particular committees are used to it, familiar with it. I don't want an explanation of one that I've just spotted, which is SIP telephony. I've got a rough idea, but it might be thinking about, because all our minutes and policies and things are also on the web, and I'm sure it does help the public and our residents and taxpayers understand what we're actually trying to do and get the full implications of it, and whether something's working or not. It's an aid to understanding. So Councillor Turner and then Councillor Land. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to go back to the flexible working, and Councillor Hunter Clark wasn't a councillor at the time, but even before COVID, this council was looking at flexible working, and it was only the pandemic that speeded it up. So it's been on our horizon for some time.
Councillor Land, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Regarding acronyms and initialisms, I made this point at a financial, I think it was a budget briefing. There were a lot of acronyms and initialisms that initially didn't make sense to me. And so I asked for a glossary at the end of papers. Maybe you'd like to do the same, if you'd be so kind.
Can I just say thank you for that idea? Do you know, we went through this and looked at it and I thought we'd cracked it all, but obviously not. So, no, we'll do that. It's no problem at all. Quite happy to do that.
Carry on, Alison.
Yep. Okay, so next slide, please, Ruth. We're up to the democratic services. Don't worry. No, don't worry. No hurry. I won't sing carols or anything. Don't worry. Nearly there. Two more. Thank you. do the Christmas video before they take community questions. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Don't worry. Nearly there. Okay, thank you very much, Ruth. Democratic services and elections. This year, democratic services have managed an unprecedented number of by-elections, with another one scheduled for January. Despite the scale of this activity, elections have continued to run smoothly, safeguarding democratic participation and ensuring communities are properly represented. Alongside this, the team has overseen significant postal vote reapplication requirements, helping residents stay registered and be able to vote, and to continue to support members with their both routine and bespoke training so councillors can carry out their roles effectively. One of our key challenges is uncertainty around the 2026 county elections, which makes planning and resourcing even more difficult. Looking ahead to early 2026, we will be welcoming a new Democratic Services Officer, which strengthens our capacity and resilience. We will also continue to monitor national changes to standards and the Code of Conduct framework to ensure Breckland remains compliant, transparent and well governed. Next slide, please. Communications. Okay. This year, communications has played a key role in supporting local government reorganisation, consultation and engagement, managing the Future Norfolk online presence and ensuring that residents can access clear, reliable and easy to understand information. We also delivered major engagement from the local plan consultation using creative approaches like the Birds and the Bees, the Birds and the Bees, the Birds and the Trees campaign. Don't laugh. Backed by video, social media and virtual events, helping more people understand the proposals and take part. Actually, I'm going to say something here because comms has really moved from being standard, no, I won't say what I was going to say, standard comms to more engaging comms now, which I think we need to do as we move forward. Capacity has been tight due to a secondment. We've still been very focused on prioritising activity that directly meets our council priorities and supports our communities. Looking ahead, we're planning to launch a WhatsApp broadcast channel, giving us fast and direct way to update residents about services, emergencies and major changes, improving reach, speed and transparency. Right, that's the last slide for my bits and pieces in my portfolio. I want to say a big thank you to you all for giving me this opportunity to showcase the great work that's happening across my service. And I want to say a big thank you to all the staff, because I know I'm a pain in the neck sometimes with them. So they put up with me over the last year. And I just want to say well done for putting up with me and not locking me in a cupboard or something. Before I take any questions, I'd like to end by sharing one of our latest communications videos, a creative piece designed to get an important Christmas recycling message out to our residents. Some of you might have seen it, but I thought it was worth sharing. Thank you.
Dashing through the bins with our rubbish from the day, sorting as we go in the Breckland way. Hey! Paper, carton, tins, glass and plastics too, clean and dry and loose they go, it's easy when you do. Oh! Recycle well, recycle right, keep it clean and dry, foil and glitter, plastic bottles can't be recycled white. Oh! Recycle well, recycle right, keep it nice and neat, reuse, reduce this Christmas time and make your home complete. Orange, take a line. Oh! Do the scrunch test now, give that wrap a squeeze. If it stays all scrunched right up, recycle it with ease. If it springs right back, that means it's plastic film. Pop it in the rubbish bin and keep things clean and still. Oh, recycle well, recycle right, keep it clean and dry, foil and glitter, plastic bottles can't be recycled white. Oh, recycle well, recycle right, keep it nice and neat, stay on Santa's nice list, friends with recycling that's sweet. Orange, take a ride. Hey! Plan your festive food so none goes to waste. Save some cash and help the earth, it's smart and kind and great. Trees can go for mulch or plant them if you can. Breckland's going greener now, let's cheer and lend a hand. Oh, recycle well, recycle right. Sing it loud and clear. Keep Breckland green and sparkling bright and spread good cheer this year. Oh, recycle well, recycle right. Do it every day. Reduce, reuse, recycle to the Breckland Christmas way. Recycle right. Hey, hey.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone. Well, we'll do the questions, I promise. Right, any more questions on any?
Just so we go, yeah, thank you very much for that, Alison, and that video. I think I didn't see Councillor Crane who'd be interested in the recycling stuff in that, and I didn't see any credits for the singing and where the royalties go. I'm sure that will have the rocking in the aisles. Anyway, enough of this festive stuff. I think we have Councillor Peter Wilkinson. I think you had your hand up, Peter.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman.
And then
Councillor
Hunter
you might
Clark.
have just beat me to the punch there, really. I was just going to say well done to the officers who made the choir. You know, I'll sign you up, get you a contract. Brilliant. Well done.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure whether this is, well, it is a question for you in terms of contact. And I know from my own experience that, for example, the IT people have their own separate phone number. Are there separate phone numbers available to the particularly to avoid, oh, thank you, to avoid the delays which Robin mentioned earlier on in terms of access. Just a thought process. And the last thing on acronyms, whilst I'm talking about acronyms, because there's another one on the ICT page, which is DLP. I have no idea what that means. It's on the ICT digital page. Future data classification / DLP. And I think that therefore I would support Terry's point about having a glossary of these so we can understand things better as we'll get back to you. You don't know what it means either. Well, I will tell you. Digital light processing. Thank you, well done. Only because I looked it, oh no, Terry looked it up.
I looked it up.
But it's another, sorry,
what it is.
I'm not being flippant, but it's another example. When you produce a report like this, it's important to know exactly what we're talking about. Okay, thank you.
Totally agree. So we're doing that and we'll have it sent out to everybody soon. Regarding your question about the delays, the problem is, right, okay, years ago, there used to be a number for planning. And the planners used to, basically what used to happen is you just sat and it rang and it rang and it rang and it rang because there was a number and there wasn't enough planners to actually answer. As you can imagine, everybody wants to ask questions about planning. It's, yeah. So the fact that we have a digital thing, which basically says, what do you want? Then you push a button to get to that stage, like planning. That is exactly what happens. So you are being basically sent to to that number. If you just went straight to the number, it's going to be worse, in my opinion. Yeah, in my opinion. But thank you for the suggestion. Any suggestions to help would be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison, and thank you, David. I hope your communication works better when you have your next question. I think next one is Councillor Hunter Clark again. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Just my favourite topic, elections. You put in your reports here, uncertainty of county elections in 2026. I just wondered whether there was something you know that I don't know, because we've now had it confirmed, have we not, by the government that those elections will be going ahead. So a couple of questions. Is Breckland ready for those elections? Has it prepared For example, the new electoral registers and the boundaries, because they are going to be fought under new boundaries, as you know, those elections in 2026. And just a quick one, in terms of cost, it's my understanding that the cost of that election is met by Norfolk County Council, but correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you.
Can I pass this over to Rob, because as I said, he knows the exact detail.
No, you're quite correct, Councillor Hunter Clark. We expect the county elections to be going ahead in May. Clearly, there's been uncertainty during the course of the year, which I think is what the slide's referring to. The recent mayoral announcement and the delay for 2 years, and when we were expecting an election at the same time, gives testament to that uncertainty we're facing. So, no, there's nothing we know that you don't know when we're expecting those elections to go ahead in May. And you're quite correct, if they're county council elections, that cost is funded by the county council, as it would do if it was district council elections here. So it's more testament to the uncertainty during the course of the year. But we are prepared and we're ready, and we've been planning for those elections. So, yeah, we're ready should we be needed.
Thank you very much, Councillor Walker. Rob Walker. Could we, just a quick question for Alison, it may be other officers answering this one. The last item on that slide, the government consultation on standards of code of conduct, framework and outcomes. Have you any indication of when that will be, consultation will be launched and finished? I'm just interested also as a member of governance and audit as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, the consultation has already taken place, and we're just working through what any considerations are in terms of the code of conduct at the moment.
Thank you very much for that. I did see in the recent past, Teresa, there was reference to alterations being made to reintroducing flexibility for hybrid working, such as we had so you could have an option for people to be in a meeting, but also so that in terms of attendance and so forth. And I don't know if you've seen anything on the horizon in that sort of area as well. That's not related to conduct, but it's a related matter in terms of councillor attendance. I just wondered if you've heard anything on that at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, again, we have been aware of that consultation that has taken place, and at the moment, Breckland Council's stance is that all meetings will take place face to face. Thank you.
Any further questions for Councillor Webb? No? Well, thank you very much, members of Anderson and the team, for this particular occasion. I'm sure there's lots of things that you can take back and to report on, and I'm sure the Commission will follow those up in due course with praise and looking at progress, as we always do. Thank you, Alison. Thank you, members. The next item is number 8, which is our Q2 Finance Performance and Projects Report, which is the report of Councillor Phil Cowan, who's the Executive Member for Finance, Revenue and Benefits. Councillor Paul Hewitt isn't Executive Member Property, Projects and Procurement isn't here, but also I think you're contributing as well, Councillor Alison Webb's that as well. So if you would like to perhaps start, whether that's yourself, Philip, or Alison, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, and yes, give Alison a little break to gather herself for the A and B items on here. So we're looking here at Appendix C, the financial report for Q2. Now, Q2, as you know, we report on quarterly performance, quarterly financial matters. They're always, when we come to scrutiny, regrettably, they're always a bit anachronistic because we've moved beyond where we are, but we're not yet in a position to tell you what's happening to Q3. You'll have to wait with bated breath for our next meeting on that one. But the good thing about this particular report is the good news that sits within it. And you will be very familiar, I'm sure, that in past reports, we've been a little bit negative in the way we're looking at our balance sheet. This particular quarter, you can see on table 1, the revenue, section 1 revenue, that we're showing a surplus of £872,000. And there are some really good reasons why that has happened. And if you roll over the pages, as I'm sure you've already done, you will see in the breakdown that there are some substantial contributions to get us to that particular point. Development control being one. Now, development control, as we know, over the last few years has struggled, not because they've struggled, but because the world at large has struggled, and as a consequence, planning applications have been somewhat slow to be received, particularly large planning applications. This particular quarter, we've seen an increase in large planning applications and planning applications generally, and the result of that is that against our budget, you can see that we've got a variance on the plus side of just under £500,000. So there's a significant contribution there. And similarly with corporate finance, when we start the year, and of course when we start the year, we start the previous year looking ahead, we try and anticipate where interest rates are going to move during the course of the year. And we always try and take a conservative view of that, small c, conservative view, because it's prudent to do so. As we all know, interest rates have not fallen in the quarter 1 and quarter 2 period as perhaps were anticipated. And the consequence of that is that our ability to invest and lend money, particularly as you will see later in the report, to other local authorities, means that the return that we've been getting on those investments we put out there has held up. And again, you can see there we've got just under £450,000 additional revenue as a consequence of that. We've talked many times in various committee meetings, and not least here, about the cost to this council of housing, whether that's temporary accommodation or anything else related to it. And yes, there is always a cost to be borne by this council, because accommodation costs that are reimbursed to us by central government do not meet the actual costs that we incur. However, other changes in central government policy, particularly DWP changes, has meant that we're able to see an increase, a net gain on our housing benefit figures. As you can see there, the housing benefit budget has improved to the tune of £428,000 as a direct result of the lower reliance on nightly costs, largely due to changes in the way that processes are carried out, but also the fact that we've been investing in temporary accommodation to reduce those costs. Garden waste has held up as well, which is good news, particularly on disposal costs, which is good. And there are various other smaller amounts which go towards that large increase in our anticipated budget at this moment in time. There are, of course, some swings and roundabouts in here, as you can see. The council tax direct costs are about 100,000 more than we anticipated, and that's grant income because that's now been rolled up, as you can see from the side note there. And we've had to provide additional resources for environmental protection as well. But on balance, what we're seeing is effectively a significant improvement in our quarter 2 figures compared with what we might have expected at this time last year when we were budgeting. If we look at Appendix C, Table 3, you'll also see that we are sort of beating ourselves on the achieved efficiency targets, which is, again, good news, and it's the way this organisation functions. We set targets and people are able to achieve them without a fall off, and I stress this, in performance. And just if I can just go back to comments that we were hearing earlier about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence does help us to reduce our costs. What we're desperately keen to avoid is that artificial intelligence takes over. That is not the purpose of AI in this council. the purpose of AI is to use it to the benefit of the residents and the benefit of what we do to ensure that we can maintain communication with residents and through as many channels directly as possible. But AI used properly does enable us to become more efficient at doing certain tasks. And you know, we've seen out in the big wide world there how AI can improve, you know, the supercomputer revolutionized computer technology. Well, AI has revolutionized computer technology beyond belief. When it's used right, it has significant benefits. On the capital, again, section 2, you'll see there that we're carrying forward £4 million or thereabouts. And the reasons are quite straightforward. We've got food waste vehicles that we haven't actually spent the money on yet, but they are due for to be arriving next year. We've got the leisure facilities at Attleborough, the 3G pitch and the strategy. That money is not yet committed, not yet spent, it is committed. So we've carried that forward. On the Treasury sheet, the little pie chart, you'll see there what I was referring to. We are fortunate through what we've been able to achieve with our financial management over the years to have substantial cash reserves which we're able to lend to others who are less fortunate than us. So you can see that we've got over half of our cash reserves loaned out to local authorities around the country. And as I say, that particular investment, because that's how I see it, has been able to generate additional income through the interest rates holding up as much as they have. I think the rest of it is fairly straightforward. What I would like to do is just go back to Appendix 1, the performance report, if I may, and just look at the very top line on performance for Q2, which is ARP. And as you will be aware, I sit on the ARP Joint Committee, and in fact this particular year, Breckland holds the chair on that committee. So you'll see the very first target there of 8 is in the red. We had a significant discussion about this particular point at our last Joint Committee meeting. Our targets are, to say the least, they're ambitious, very ambitious indeed. And as you can see, in Q2 24-25, it was at 14. We set a very ambitious target, and we're finding it a bit of a struggle to achieve it. So we've sent the ARP team away to rethink it. And the reason for that is not because we want to dilute what we do, but actually the way they are able to respond now, in particular to DWP increase in workload, over which they have no control. And this is all about migration to universal credit. The universal credit migration is accelerating. So they're having to respond significantly to that. And that's actually having what I would call, in this context, a negative impact on our ability to achieve the target. So I would anticipate the ARP teams will be coming back to the Joint Committee with some amended targets for that. But I would stress they are very ambitious when you look around the country. And to be able to deliver at 9.16 days instead of 8 is not a failure by any stretch of the imagination. So at that point, Chairman, I think I can stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you doing a double act in terms of doing the performance?
I'm both today. I'm both Paul Hewitt and Alison
Okay.
Webb.
Well, it will probably be useful if we have any questions on the finance to start off with Councillor Cowan before we move on to Alison. Robin Hunter-Clark and then Terry Land.
Sorry,
Robin.
just a quick one. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Councillor Cowan. On page 40, I just wondered what under PFI, it says in the side note, this variance is due to an error in the budget set by the Finance Department last year, and obviously it's quite a significant variance. I just wondered what that was, what the error was on our part, or Breckland's part.
I'm going to pass across to my colleague on my left, who will be able to give you the chapter and verse on that particular one. So,
Yeah, thank you. It was something as simple as a corrupt spreadsheet, I'm afraid, on that one, and we've made the necessary checks and balances so that it shouldn't happen again in future.
Thank you, Chairman. If ever there was an argument against AI, there you are.
Thank you, Chair. I noticed that part of the reserves are being lent out to other councils. Given the perilous state of many councils across the country, what is the risk assessment on that, please?
They're gold-plated because they're underwritten by government. One reason why we actually quite enjoy being able to use our good fortune to support others who are less fortunate, because we know the risk to that is absolutely, I would say, zero. Pretty much so, yeah, unless we know something else is happening worldwide, but no, zero for that. So they are they're a very good covenant. And we are in a very fortunate position to be able to assist colleagues elsewhere.
Thank you. Any further questions for Councillor Cam before we move on to Alison? No. Thank you, Alison.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on now to performance, which is my area. This report looks at performance for Q2. In Q2, the majority of our key performance indicators are at or near target. Firstly, I want to touch on customer contact. I spoke last quarter about the challenging period the contact centre was going through. Several factors, including long-term staff sickness and staffing vacancies, meant that we were likely to see some knock-on impacts in terms of our customer satisfaction. As a result, we have now dipped slightly below target on this measure. Whilst work has been ongoing to ensure a long-term return above target, in the short term, I want to highlight that last month's satisfaction surveys were back above target. So obviously it's working, what we're doing. Obviously, we want to ensure that satisfaction is as high as possible when residents contact the contact centre. So the focus of the team now is to ensure that we stay above target. I want to also draw your attention to standards complaints responses. This was a case of the council receiving a low number of standards complaints, meaning that the percentage can sometimes make the indicator look worse than it actually is. What this indicator shows that of the 18 cases which were received by April and October, only 2 were responded to late. However, we know that those 2 should have been done as well. So, as I said, at the end of the day, it's something that we are looking to improve on. That's me on that side of things. Do you want to ask questions now? I'm quite happy.
Any questions for Councillor Webb, please?
I do have a question. It's just on the car park strategy. I just wondered, it says here December 25, revised offers submitted to town councils. I just wondered where that process is now at, given the urgency of it, and whether Overview and Scrutiny Commission are going to get an opportunity to look at those revised offers so that we can, feed into that process as a commission.
Thank you. I'm going to pass this over.
Thanks very much for the question. We are obviously working at pace with these transfers. I'm pleased to say that the engagement that we've had with all of the town councils has been really positive. They've all engaged with us and are working at pace as we are. All town councils have now had heads of terms for the transfers, which have been accepted. And I'm pleased to let you know that there is a report going to be on the Cabinet agenda on the 12th of January with all of the sort of terms that relate to each town, all 5 towns that's coming forward, as I say, and there'll be an opportunity then to share any views, and if you've got any comments, questions at that point, we can take them at that time.
Thank you, that's very helpful. That would have been a question I was asked if no one else had asked it. Just got one quick question myself, members, if that's all right. Under 4.2 in the main text of the document we've got, it refers to local authority round 2. obviously we're very pleased to see about the completion of the extra 11 homes to support homeless and temporary accommodation. I just wondered what that means in terms of how many actual people, when you've got full occupancy, that will sort of cater for. It just gives, I think it's probably helpful for members and also the wider public just to know how much support we're giving so far. Thank you, if possible.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for your question. I'd rather get it right, so I'm going to come back with that one and basically let you all know the exact numbers so that we don't get it wrong. I'd rather not take a guess at it. It's important to get it right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alison. As we could move on, have you got further areas of performance to tell us about? Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Okay, so Councillor Hewitt sends his apologies, so I'm going to be covering that position as well. Right, okay, this report covers the position of the Council's high priority projects at the end of Q2, quarter two. Once again, we've seen important and complex projects come to successful completion. This includes the second phase of property purchases using the Local Authority Housing Fund. This project has seen the Council purchase an additional 11 good quality properties to support households in need of temporary accommodation. This has played a significant part in reducing the amount spent on nightly paid accommodation, as highlighted in the finance section of this report. As a council, we also continue to look internally at improving the standard and efficiencies of our key services. You may have seen over the past few months, we have been focusing our efforts in better aligning our housing and communities team to ensure the life-changing interventions both these teams implemented are identified and addressed as early as possible through partnership working and a proactive approach. As part of this work, we've now completed a project which saw a review of all these services areas and a new staffing structure introduced. Work will now focus on the back office process and systems to make further improvements to the customer journey. I'm going to say on this bit here that these two teams, housing communities, there is so much that each team work with each other. It's really important they're joined up. We've also launched a new programme of service improvements across our environmental protection team to address local and national challenges with regards to recruitment and retention of talent, knowledge and skills. These are just a handful of high priority projects this council is committed to delivering. An overview of these can be found within the appendices. And that's it from me, and I'm happy to pass any questions to whoever can answer them.
Thank you. Any questions from members? I've just got one small question for you, Alison. In the performance in quarter two, and this refers back to earlier sort of comments we've had, I noticed, really from, perhaps it's my ignorance, it says website accessibility score, given externally rating how accessible our website is. Obviously that's the accessibility as opposed to how user-friendly the thing is, and I've just wondered how you arrive at that score and have that measured. It's probably something that I ought to know about, but don't. Thank you.
I have to admit I'm not 100% sure how that's measured, but I will take that away for you and find out and come back to you.
So we measure it through Silktide, which is an online website. You can go on there and search all the council websites, and it shows sort of where we score within that. Within that, they have a scoring system, which basically says what criteria we meet and what criteria we don't meet. So that is broken down as A, AA, AAA, basically. So I think we're 37th in the country at the moment, but that has the criteria that then results in that score that we publish within that report around accessibility. In terms of usability, that's something which will obviously be covered a little bit by Silktide, but is also something we take into account with customer survey feedback. So I think that answers your question, Chairman.
Yeah, that's a good start. Thank you very much. I knew you'd have the answer right. Thank you. Any further questions for Councillor Webb's part of the portfolio? Any more questions? No one's got any more questions. Wonderful. Or not wonderful. and I haven't got any other questions either. You'll be pleased to hear, Alison. So can I thank you for you and the extensive team here today for your time in responding to questions, and obviously we hope that any of the areas will be followed up. Any areas that members have raised that we aren't sure about information, and that will obviously be circulated, not just the members that have asked the questions or raised concerns or want further inquiries, and that will go to all members. So thank you very much for coming along today and your colleagues. Next item we have is on the agenda is number 9, outside body feedback standing item, and we thank Councillor Wilkinson for his feedback, because we've obviously had some of that that circulated. Obviously, if there are any other outside body reports, we always welcome to have those mentioned here in case those aren't getting a hearing. And I see Councillor Wilkinson obviously would like to talk about his particular contribution in the item that we've already had circulated to members. Peter.
Yeah, just to point out that the work that Breckland Youth Advisory Board does for supporting its peers and young people, especially the 2 latest funding ones for the carers, which is going to be held in Yaxton Village Hall, which is accessible to everybody outside. Rather than we go to all the towns, we do look at villages as well where they can support young people, and the one in South Lockham as well, which is out on a limb over there. So that saves travel for young people as well. So that is very important work that the youth advisory boards across Norfolk do, in particular Breckland.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wilkinson, for your usual due diligence and energy in this matter. I just wondered, do you have anything to say, Councillor Wilkinson? I know you sometimes contribute about Swaffham, don't you? And the
Well, just a brief update, I suppose. We have Hammond's Trust, which I chair in Swaffham, and I've mentioned that before at this point of the agenda, for fellow members to make sure that they're aware of our presence and what we do to help young people in Breckland up to the age of 21. We have our next trustees meeting on the 7th, I think, of January, there or thereabouts anyway, and we already have quite a large portfolio of charity requests. And just to remind the members in their own areas that provided that the individual under the age of 21 lives in Breckland, we are able to consider grants excuse me, which are quite broad in their context. For young people who are in financial difficulty, or families with young people who are in difficulty. And one of the major grants we've been giving recently is impacted by the fact that the Hammond Academy in Swaffham doesn't have a sixth form. So we are getting multiple applications for transport costs for those who wish to continue their education up to the A-level standard, going to Dereham or going to King's Lynn or wherever they go, to get those extra 2 years which are not provided by the Trust. I think that's very sad. You probably know that the Trust sits in Birmingham and has various academies around the place. But the prospect of, as I understand it, and I stand to be corrected, but the prospect of another of reopening the sixth form is quite remote. So that's a continuous area where we are pleased to be able to help families with the transport costs, bus passes, etc., to get those students to where they need to be to complete their education. So yes, that's a brief recap, and I would encourage all members that if they are aware of, excuse me, I'm so sorry, aware of families in distress in their particular area where we can assist, then please go on our website. There's an application form on the website for individuals to complete, or if it's an organisation that needs some help, A good example is the Benjamin Foundation. We recently gave them quite a large grant to meet their budget for young carers in Watton and Swaffham. Young people who do a fantastic job looking after their brother or sister or even their parents at some point in time. So it's quite a broad brush, but I would encourage members to go to our website and to say there is an application form on there which can be printed out and handed out if necessary to people who would like some help. Pleased to answer any questions anybody has, but that's a brief recap of where we stand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Councillor Turner, Linda.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to thank David for that. I sit on a couple of charities within my ward, and if ever we're unable to help young people with a certain aspect, we always forward them on to David's charity. It is brilliant, and I hope more members would use it in time because it covers the whole of Breckland. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members. We have no further outside body information, but thank members for their continued contribution in that area. Our next item on the agenda is item 10, scrutiny call-ins, a standing item. There haven't been any decisions called in for scrutiny at the moment, so I don't have any information to give members on that. Councillor call for action as a standing item, said if we've had any references for that. I haven't had any. It's item 11. Item 12 on our agenda, members, is the work programme which is attached. And as always, it's up to the Commission to decide what things we need on the agenda, looking at the time and the space that we've got. I do note, looking at the programme as we move into 26th, as our next meeting, the 29th, obviously the largest agenda will be the draft budget coming in. So some of the things we have to look at statutorily, but obviously we will try to fit in other areas, and as members know, we also review things, so we're not leaving some areas, neglecting areas which we need to look at on a regular basis. Robin.
Yeah, sorry, just to follow up on what I said earlier about car parking, I would like to see that on an agenda in January next year. If it means we have to have another meeting, because as you say, we're going to have a meeting around the budget, then so be it. I think it's so important that we get this right for the residents of Breckland, and I know that you'll agree with those comments given your recent resignation from Durham Town Council, because you feel passionately, as I do, that those car parks must remain free at the point of use. So I really do feel we need to have sight of what is going on between the council, Breckland, and those town councils to ensure that what we want to get out of it is actually going to happen.
Thanks. I mean, as with anything else, if something is proper for us to look at, because there are two things obviously that affect car parks. One is whether how assets have been disposed of or not disposed of, whether there's any remuneration, as it were, coming back to the council and affecting or helping the budget. But also, as you'll know from the full council and cabinet, there are a number of matters under this which are actually delegated powers. So whilst we can scrutinise some things, we may not be able to actually, we can hear about it and scrutinise it, but we can't necessarily change the events. As we've heard about the heads of terms and everything, all of that has been in train, and that has been, once we've made that approval to have that strategy, that's then been, although it was paused, and then, if you like, we've already started with negotiation with town councils. That negotiation is direct with all those town councils that choose to take that offer up. But it doesn't preclude us from having that as an item to see how that's going for the benefit of residents, but also any future impact it may or may not have. And that might be a question that comes up in either full council or elsewhere. So we've noted that, Robin. Thank you. Anything to say on that? We've also got a copy of the key decision plan attached for members' information. And really just to say that as we move towards 2026, to think about any future work items, and Councillor Hunter Clark has mentioned one, and there may be well be others that come up that we will try to accommodate, bearing in mind the things that we have to look at statutorily around the budget and other areas as a council, and particularly any executive function. So I again encourage members to think about items of the future work programme, and also in passing encourage members who are here and members who aren't here to look at things like the bite-sized training and opportunities arise after full council or elsewhere, and the information we've sent out to members about how they can be more effective in questioning and give members a better toolkit to operate as members, not just of this commission now, but whatever may happen in the future, where people may or may end up following elections and LGR. So that's really just a thought for 2026. So I've nothing else said on that. Our next meeting is going to be held on the 29th of January 2026, and I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank members for attendance at this last meeting of 2025, and to hope that members have a healthy and enjoyable seasonal break, and look forward to a fantastic new year, and wish anybody watching a healthy time, and best wishes to people's families and friends. And with that, I declare the meeting